So is Gyraline worth it, or is it just another overhyped tech gimmick? In this first video of a 4-part series, I'll test its toe and camber measurements against traditional alignment tools such as these to find out how it compares. Before we dive into the results, we know it's been a while since our last upload and we appreciate your patience. Be sure to subscribe and turn on that notifications so you don't miss the rest of the series. If you find this helpful at all, a like would really mean a lot. It helps us out more than you know. Now let's get into it. So during the holidays, I kept seeing ads for Gyraline. At $160, it caught my attention, especially since I already spent more on my toe plates alone. I decided to give it a try. Since I track and drift my GS300, I'm always changing my alignment. Different events call for different specs. So I do my own alignment because regular shops don't work with fully adjustable aftermarket suspension like I have in my GS300. The only option is to go to performance shops, but they charge by the hour. My last alignment was $400. So using just the toe plates and string alignments work, but it's very time consuming. So after using it almost daily for a month, I'm ready to share my honest experience. So Gyraline is a smartphone app that can turn your phone into a wheel alignment tool. So you just put your phone in a Gyraline case, and it came with 3 different knobs for different size phones. And it uses your phone sensors to measure. So currently, it's mainly for iPhones, and they are working on Androids. So it's supposed to be a fast, portable alternative to traditional methods like string alignments and toe plates, but does it work? So here's a cost breakdown for my tools. So these are my toe plates with an angle finder. They were about $250, and it takes me around 6 minutes to set up to take the total front and the rear toe measurements. So for a 4-wheel alignment, I use a string alignment, which depending on what you already have is about $60. So I have a lot of this aluminum angles, and so this is what I use for the bars to hold the strings. And of course, I just bought string and this ruler, and of course, just the usual jack stands. It can be really accurate, but the process takes about 45 minutes, so it does take a while. From getting all the measurements, doing your calculations. So Gyraline, it only cost me $160, and it measures the toe, the camber, the caster, and it takes about 10 minutes once I got the hang of it. And that's just using the thrust, body align, and camber mode. I can't really get into the caster mode right now since my car does not have adjustable caster, but stay tuned. I will definitely put in some adjustable caster and then we'll test that out. But there is a learning curve with using Gyraline, and I'll get more into it later. So Gyraline claims that it can replace all these tools and do it faster. The question is, how accurate is it? So let's go through the toe and camber results using Gyraline and compare them to the string alignment, toe plates, and angle finder. We tested those across my GS300, my ILX, and my friend's Subaru Impreza 2.5 RS. What you see in the table are just some of the measurements that we've taken. There are many times that the results just didn't make sense, so we ended up not even using it at all. Toe measurements from a typical manufacturer have a tolerance of plus or minus 0.2 degrees. First, I tested toe with both toe plates and string alignment, 2 physical methods where I can directly see and verify the numbers. The readings from the toe plates and string alignments stayed within the plus or minus 0.2 degrees from each other. So for this comparison, I'll use the string alignment results as the reference points for Gyraline's measurements. So you can see on the table, Gyraline's toe readings showed a lot of variations, sometimes falling outside of the plus or minus 0.2 degrees tolerance. So what should be a simple 3-minute process often stretches to like 15 minutes before I can feel confident with the results. Now let's talk about camber. And in my test using an angle finder as the reference, every Gyraline camber reading stayed within that range. So I think that Gyraline's camber mode is pretty spot on. So why do we need to be so accurate? Accurate alignment is very important for performance driving. Track spec alignments requires to be more precise than regular commuter cars because track tires are much less forgiving than all-season tires. Even small alignment changes can significantly affect how the car handles. That's why I constantly double check my alignment for track events. So even though Gyraline is very convenient, the toe readings can be just inconsistent. I wanted to rely on it all the way, but I kept returning to the string alignment to confirm if my numbers were right. That inconsistency makes me question whether Gyraline can replace traditional tools for precise track setups. But for the usual daily driver, I think it's good enough. So one of the things that really stuck out to me with Gyraline was when I was adjusting my camber and toe with my car. So Gyraline is a static measurement tool, so it takes snapshots of your alignment at a single point in time. So every time you adjust, you need to recalibrate the Gyraline and then retake your reading and then check again and check again. But when you compare it to a string alignment or a camber gauge, which are active measurement tools, so you can see the changes in real time as you adjust the settings. You can just stop exactly when you hit your target alignment without the extra back and forth. So in one of the tests that I was doing the Subaru Impreza on, I took 5 thrust mode readings and 3 body align mode readings. Initially the results were very consistent and it matched with the string alignment. But after stepping away for 10 minutes, recalibrating, and trying again without restarting the app, the reading shifted. The center line moved to the left, left, oh, this is my left, your left. You know what I mean. So I even took the Gyraline and I just placed it on the ground, tried to get it to recalibrate, started doing my measurements again, restart the reading, restart the surface profile, and then put it back in the ground, let it calibrate, restart the reading, and it still didn't work. So I had to turn off the app and then restart everything, and then it finally started working more consistently. So if I didn't know the previous results or the string alignment results, I wouldn't know if it was the car or it was Gyraline. So that is one of the things that scares me about it. So bottom line, restart the app often. Make sure you get everything recalibrated. Multiple readings are a must. Gyraline isn't a set it and forget it kind of tool. You need to be patient. Speaking of patience, it is going to be a lot of measurements, so be careful with your back because my back was hurting a lot the next day. It's pretty sore. Did a lot of squats too, squatting down, trying to get the measurements instead of using my back. So be prepared for that. So pros and cons. For the toe plates, it's quick, simple, great for total toe. So the cons is it only measures total toe. There's no center line reference and you can't have the individual toe readings. With string alignment, the pros are it's highly precise for all angles. It's active measurement, so you can see the change. Cons is very time consuming. You definitely have to double check your numbers. I did a lot of mistakes, so I had to double check everything. You definitely have to set it up properly, and you need a separate camber tool to find out your camber. And the camber gauge is excellent for camber, active measurement. This one has the magnet where you can just stick it on the rotor so you can see it. But the cons is it needs a separate toe tools. It only measures camber. So you need multiple tools to get the alignment done properly with traditional tools. But with Gyraline, it's portable, covers toe, camber, caster. The cons is it's inconsistent, very sensitive to movement, only static measurements. So since this is only 7 inches wide, it's pretty sensitive to chips in your rim or just placing it incorrectly on your wheel. So why does the results vary? So the level of the surface is very important with any kind of tool you do with alignment. So my garage has a slight slope going down 0.4 degrees something minor. Even this way, it has like a 0.25 degrees, I believe. Another one's human error. Misplacing the toe plates or strings can skew the results. Gyraline needs a stable foam placement. So also device sensitivity. Like I mentioned, Gyraline's accuracy relies on precise movements and frequent calibration. Even if you accidentally moved it a little too fast or bump into something, could throw off the readings. So is Gyraline worth it? For quick checks, absolutely. Doing regular commuter cars, yeah, I think is good enough. But for precise track alignments, I'll always back it up with traditional tools. So yeah, I think it's worth it. I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. It is very promising and hopefully it can get better in the future. What do you think? Let me know your experiences in the comments. If this helped you out, hit like, subscribe, stay tuned for part 2 and I'll show you how I set everything up.